a regulatory nightmare, and it's a big open-ended ethics question. Is this okay to do? If we now have a tool that is so powerful that if we released these genetically engineered mosquitoes into a wild type population, we know that within just a few generations, we could make sure that all the mosquitoes out there carried this genetic alteration. Is that something that we should do? What are the unintended consequences? Obviously, malaria is bad. We want to eradicate malaria, but what else could come along with this technology?
So they haven't gamed forward. They haven't made predictions as to what those might be.
I mean, I'm sure they're working on it, but there are
adversely.
huge multidisciplinary and multi-institutional hearings on this right now, because as soon as the first research came out that said, holy shit, this is really successful, a lot of people pushed back.
Yeah.
If we remember, there was that lab-grown H5N1. This was like in 2011, where they were able to insert it and actually cause a species jump in this virus. And immediately, people rang the ethics alarm bells and said, should we be doing this research in the lab? And if so, how can we make sure that it safely stays in the lab? So this is a secondary ethical hurdle. We're talking about taking it outside of the lab. A lot of times when we talk about genetically engineered organisms like bacteria, viruses, and insects, this kind of research is done all the time, but usually there's a fail-safe built in so that one of the genes they inherit make it so it can't breed, or make it so that it dies if it loses a certain type of nutrition. But what we're specifically talking about here is a study that does the opposite. It wants it to breed, it induces it to breed and actually pass on this genetic trait very quickly.
Yeah, we're talking about deliberately releasing it into the wild to change the wild populations of these insects. So we definitely have to be careful. So Bob, I understand there's some kind of centennial with Einstein and relativity going on. Tell me what's up.
Yeah, guys, this is actually happening now. This month is the 100-year anniversary of general relativity.
Wow.
Yes, 100 years. This is a big one. There's actually been celebrations of sorts throughout the year. But in November 1915, Albert Einstein presented his field equations to the Prussian Academy of Science, a milestone in science. So those field equations describe how gravity is not a force transmitted across space-time. It was space-time itself curving in response to the matter and energy in it. Those curves are what our planet in orbit, where a falling apple follows. And I love the statement that Archibald Wheeler famously made, roughly saying something like, space-time tells matter how to move, matter tells space-time how to curve. Kind of this interrelation, this big dance